It's no secret that I'm fond of Sonic Adventure 2, which I first played on the Nintendo GameCube some years ago, but back then it had the subtitle of Battle. But as I'm playing the PC version of the game now, you've got to pay for an extra word to add to the title because it's broken off as DLC. Now how's about that for some downloadable disc content? It's not a great start of the game when several versus multiplayer maps and Chao Karate are torn from the original experience, and another word in the title is locked behind a paywall. Still, the rest of the game remains pure. The characters, the plot, the locations, the breast physics. Actually, the less said about Rouge the Bat the better, and this review will be a lot more hygienic. And you know what? The game still holds up pretty well today. Bear in mind, this was a fairly controversial game at the time which divided the Sonic fandom dramatically. Nowadays it's regarded as one of the better entries to the series because Sonic 06 and Rise Lyric hadn't been spawned from the unwiped inner ring of Satan's rectum at the time. Just saying those two games' names makes me look forward to the afterlife because it's got to be better than living in a place which houses such vile monstrosities of Nurgle's warty armpit. But getting back on track, Sonic Team have done wonders in creating a story and world which both teams Hero and Dark can appreciate. Sonic has been arrested because he's mistaken for Shadow the Hedgehog in his debut appearance. How he's mistaken, I've not a fucking clue. Even if everything was in grayscale, you'd still be able to tell the difference between the front, back or sides. Then there's also Knuckles and Rouge, again the latter making their first appearance in the games, fighting over control of the Master Emerald, with the stupid bastards break it when Eggman tries to steal it, and now they're trying to find the pieces scattered across the globe. Finally, you've got Dr. Robotnik chasing his grandfather's legacy to find some world-enslaving creation, and his Team Hero counterpart Tails is, well, he's just here for the ride. You know, he's one of the few characters in the entire series which isn't a total bellend. I mean, he gives Sonic lifts to places for free of charge without any thanks, even though Sonic can just run on water at the speed of light. He gets scolded for saving his friends' lives on multiple occasions, and he gets scolded for it, and no one's amazed by the fact he has two tails. I mean, I think he should leave Team Sonic and join Team Bonne. I mean, we're always in need of another pilot that has two tails. The story is split up into 3 acts, the perspective of Team Hero, Team Dark, and the final act where the two teams have to face a common foe. The last chapter is the hardest, where missions are longer and require the input of all team members, and believe me, you don't want to lose your lives or quit the game halfway through. Depending on which side you play on, and both campaigns need to be completed to unlock the final chapter, the places you go to, the bosses you face, and the way the story unfolds will differ. However, the character traits remain near identical, so you don't need to worry about one character being more overpowered or useless than the other team's equivalent. Sonic and Shadow's levels are what you'd expect from one of their 3D games, linear platforming with slippery controls and poor hit detection. In fairness though, the levels here are a lot less about zooming along and actually fighting, but not to the same degree as the edgy platformer Shadow the Hedgehog. I apologise for reminding you that that game exists. The two Hedgehogs are armed with plenty of tools to take out the military force of the Eggman's robots, still being able to spin dash, but you'll be using the homing attack and ring dash a lot more to take out foes and navigate the levels. It's almost as though it's not a Sonic game. Unfortunately, the key word there is almost. I feel as though these two characters' levels are better than the previous entry in this sub-series, as well it has more dramatic sequences such as explosions, synchronized enemy spawning and attacks, and the fan-favourite speedy moments. It also remains consistent. But because of how many more there are, there's more to screw up. Many times speed pads, grind rails and homing attacks will fail to respond, usually halting your progress and leading you to your death. The enemy design is also lazy, with hidden spawning enemies crushing down on you from above just to take your rings out of spite. Not cool. These levels are the best ones to showcase what Sonic Team can really do with 3D platforming, but it also highlights many of the problems players such as myself find with the series as a whole. Again, I refer to the controls, hit detection, awkward enemy spawning, and the often pointless speed sections that only exist to wank off the dev's ego. Now, missions in which you play as Knuckles and Rouge consist of mostly finding the shards of the Master Emerald and other mission critical items, making great use of their gliding and climbing abilities. Interestingly enough, these are the only non-linear stages in the game, as you get to navigate open areas and gather clues to find the 3 pieces of the Emerald. This may sound fun, and I admit it makes a pleasant change to what we expect from the intellectual property, but playing hide and seek with a broken gem isn't my idea of fun. It won't be yours after 3 minutes of not making any progress either. Because the characters are competent fighters, there's no excuse to die, but you will get bored and at worst frustrated with finding the Emerald's pieces. To be fair, the clues dotted around on floating computers in the world, don't ask me how that works, are useful. You should be done relatively quickly if you follow their advice, something I never used to do and spent ages stuck on these stages. But even then, they don't make the levels much less of a chore to navigate. Most of these are easy to get lost in with their large open rooms and hidden passageways. This is a stark contrast to the final chapter where the stark size of them is replaced with raw, unforgiving challenges. To say whether I prefer Knuckle Drag or a Rouge Traders level is hard to say. Knuckles had the more obscure item locations but also the best upgrades. Rouge on the other hand had some beautiful zones, but she also has Security Hall, where the stupid cow gives you a 5-minute time limit to find 3 Chaos Emeralds when you could have had 15 to do so! While we're talking about the two duel enthusiasts, how is it that Pumpkin Hill can exist in the same world as human beings? I've only just recently thought of that. Then again, how is Sonic and Tails in the world of humans? Why even? And last but certainly not least are the Tails and Robotnik stages, which are my personal favourite even if they're nothing special. In these stages players navigate the levels using the walking vehicles to get from point A to B, and along the way you'll find all kinds of hidden zones and tasty goodies within them. I guess it's because blowing the living daylight out of ancient artifacts, prison guards, priceless military machinery and city streets appeals to me. I'd probably get a lot less joy out of it if I didn't unlock so much Dakar along the way, making these levels the most rewarding when it comes to character upgrades. Oh yes, characters can upgrade their abilities to help navigate past, present and future stages. Sadly, a lot of these are needed to progress, making them feel less like a reward for exploration and more like, well, arsing about. So what do I mean? Until you learn the ability of ring dashing, you can't finish Metal Harbor, and as luck would have it, you'll find that upgrade in the area where ring dashing is mandatory. The same with the Hammer Fist upgrade in one of Knuckles stages, which will allow you to break heavy crates. The upgrade is required to navigate the map though. But the upgrades that exist solely as quality of life innovations feel amazing, even if what they allow access to in a level isn't anything significant. The ability to hover as Tails in the prison escape map doesn't have a huge impact on my experience, but it does allow me to reach some goodies that I couldn't before, and those goodies bring me to my next subject. I'm ashamed to say it, but what I'm about to talk about is the most satisfying thing about this game. In fact, it's worth getting it just for this feature alone. Seriously, this might as well get its own review. The Chao Garden. And I apologise if I'm butchering the pronunciation, but there's no way in Maria Mercurial's murderous minge that I'm calling them KOs. Anyway, where was I again? Oh right, yeah, the Cow Gardens. This is where you can raise tiny little munchkins to become fighters and racers, earning you achievements and glory. And I remember the time when people feared other people's chow, when we didn't need achievements displayed on gamer profiles and the like. This is my achievement, and up the penguin feet, leopard claws and bat wings off your chow. And if you think I'm joking, I dare you invite me to your Animal Crossing population growing town and watch me dig holes in it. Your oranges will be mine! By giving your chow the animals you'll find hidden in stages, you can improve your chow's stats and their chances of winning races and battles. Animals can be found in boxes, cages, pipes or just roaming around, and by giving them to your thing, you can change its appearance. You can also give them steroids, which don't have the stat reductions and animal features that the live creatures have, but they can only drop from gun soldiers and can only boost 1 stat per colour of steroid. Depending on the tracks you'll be racing on, the need for certain stats will vary. If there's water courses, you'll want a chow to be a competent swimmer rather than waddle crying in the water with all the others. And if your chow's a good flyer, then they may get an advantage when floating over a chasm that'll slow down other chow trying to climb up it. Stats like power and stamina mostly determine the chow's ability to fight, but as we've already established, the only way you're getting chow to fight is if you buy the DLC, or the GameCube version. So there's really no point in me going on about it. There's no point in me telling you all this unless you know how to get there. During levels, you'll find these blue crates which, when broken, will provide a key. Complete the level with it and you'll be taken to the garden before the next level begins. And as my good friend Billy Mays would say, but wait! There's more! 2 more crates remain, one containing about 5 or 6 animals, and the third one you find will feature a rare animal that provides massive stat boosts and minimal debuffs. And if you like the Chao Garden, you'll be encouraged to find upgrades and explore obscure parts of the level to obtain them. Not only can you access the garden, but the Chao Kindergarten, whereby you can leave a Chao there to be trained up. You can check their health and purchase goods from the black market vendor, and he too has some stuff you ought to know about. As you complete levels and their alternate challenges on the stage select screen, you'll earn emblems, and the more of these you get, the more rare goods appear in the black market. Not only that, but you need rings to buy the tree seeds, Chao eggs, accessories and fruit. This encourages you to play better so that when you finish each level, you leave with more rings to spend on the shop. It doesn't end there though. Members of Team Hero who pet and feed their Chao will unlock a new garden for Hero Chao, whereas members of Team Dark can send their Chao to hell by doing the same thing. So I guess it's true that we're not born good or evil. We have to be given fruit and head rubs by such people. It's time now to look at the visuals and the soundtrack. No, nothing like, let's inspect the blue blur of Sonic and the tune of a mystic melody. Oh, actually, I could have done that. As said earlier, the game holds up pretty well, not just when discussing gameplay, but also visually. I mean, okay, there's a lot of muddy textures, low-res backgrounds, more jaggies that you can shake a joggy at, but overall the art style is still pleasant to behold. The details are nice, the character models have aged fairly well, and the environments are incredibly varied. The one thing I could say about the game's visuals is it makes it seem like the titular adventure it's supposed to be, taking us through dense jungles, gigantic deserts, cold industrial facilities, and, well, going into space is also nice. It's very rare that I feel that way about a Sonic game. And need I express vocally my love for the music? I use it in a load of my videos and will continue to do so, unless the license holders take issue of course, but I do so out of love for it. If it weren't for Sonic Adventure 2's official soundtrack, I wouldn't have loved swing, jazz and heavy rock as much as I do today, although those raps and Knuckles levels are god-awful. It's just a shame that the voice acting is embarrassing to behold, not that the actors can be blamed when they have to work with such terrible lines. And no, I don't play the game for the story, but if it's in the game, it's in the review. It's time to stop arsing about and give you my final thoughts. Sonic Adventure 2 is a really good game. Hell, if I were more experienced with the franchise, I might say it's a good Sonic game. It uses familiar faces and isn't afraid to add new ones that are likeable and have a potential in the series, and perfectly captured a newer generation. It might even do that today, given the chance. If you played Sonic Adventure 1 for the narrative, boss battles, likeable cast, and hell even the gameplay, you'll easily find a lot of joy in this game. However, you may be put off by the two teams and their similar gameplay to one another, lack of a hub world, because all good platform games should have one, and that you'll be doing a lot more besides the traditional 3D Sonic gameplay. It's not a particularly difficult game, as most of the challenge comes from dire controls and less than desirable combat, but it's still fun to go back to all the levels and get a better ranking. And if you're a fan of the Chow Garden, you'll find a lot of replay value going to all the levels for rings. And yeah, considering the game's only £6.99 on Steam, it really is worth getting for the Chow Garden alone. So what are you waiting for? Get it! Until the next time, I'm Johnbonne, your number one source for number 2 games. Now, excuse me, I've got to go back to some old scripts and actually have some endings. Oh no. Ending? Oh wait, no, we don't do boss battles anymore, do we? Yeah. Sorry, forget about that. Right, I'll see you later. Bye!